If there's one thing I hate about being a vet is showing that huge vet bill estimate to the owners when they're just trying to do their best for their pets. It's like, yeah, sure, here's the estimate. I really can't afford this, but I hope you can. That's why I decided to make this video and gather some information about financial aid for pet owners, and it doesn't matter if it's for routine stuff like vaccines or if it's a life-threatening emergency. I'm gonna list all the organizations that I was able to find so you can look it up and maybe save this video for the future whenever you actually have an emergency and you can't afford treatment for your pets. I hope that you know that veterinarians are here for your pets. Or at least that's the case for me. I want to see them happy, I want to see them thriving, and I want to educate pet owners so their pets can live their best life. So yeah, let's get started. First of all, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. In this channel, I talk about everything about pets, like vet advice, what to be cautious of, vet emergencies that you've never heard of, and things like that. So if you want to learn everything about your pets and keep them safe, I would recommend to subscribe to my channel, and that way you're supporting me as well. Okay, so all of the organizations that I'm going to mention in this video, I'm going to list them in my YouTube video description. So you can have them there, and if you need to apply for any of those, just click in the link and it'll take you to their website. So yeah, if you find this video helpful, you can share it to your friends, you can share it to your neighbors, and maybe we can actually do some good out there. Okay, so first we're going to talk about the charitable organizations. We have a few like RedRover Relief or the Pet Fund or Brown Dog Foundation. Those are the most popular ones. In case of RedRover Relief, they offer like urgent care grants for pets when they're like in life-threatening situations or emergencies that they need surgery right away, for example. Otherwise, the pet can't pass, right? What they request from you is to fill out an online pre-application and then for you to show proof of income and the treatment plan from your vet. So if you are in an emergency situation, I would recommend to fill this pre-application as quick as possible because you know emergencies can actually get worse really fast. So you want to make sure you have at least like an option or that they're reviewing your case before things get worse. And of course, I would ask your veterinarian everything, like every document, treatment plan, and appointment notes, and diagnosis, and estimates, everything that they might have, so you can submit all of that. And this is actually something very important to consider. Please ask your vet to write it in a way that says that your pet might pass away if this treatment plan is not accepted or is not done in the next, I don't know, 24, 48 hours. Because this is actually going to tell the organization that you do need this help as fast as possible so your pet is safe. The second organization is the Pet Fund, and this one actually focuses on non-emergency cases like cancer treatments or heart disease or chronic conditions like endocrine diseases as well. So because of that, they do have a wait list. So I would apply early if your pet has a long-term care need because they might take a little bit to approve the funds actually. And if you go to their website, you can see here that they have a section for pet owners, and then you go down to financial assistance, and they're going to tell you everything that you need to do and just the documents that you need to ask your veterinarian for and all of that. So I would recommend to go over these, and actually they also have like a few other options that you can look into in case this one's not an option for you. So yeah, like I said, I will leave this link down below as well as the other one so you can check it out. Okay, the third option that we have is Brown Dog Foundation, and they actually help you with unexpected cases, for example, job loss or major bills for emergencies, or if your pet is going through a life-threatening emergency like we said before. They usually support and approve treatable but also serious conditions like life-threatening emergencies. For example, surgeries, treatable cancers, or life-threatening illness. And this is important to mention, they don't cover routine care like vaccines or ongoing treatments or preventative care like, for example, wellness visits or chronic maintenance like allergy medications that you need to refill every month, for example. And they don't cover also dental cleanings or dental extractions. So this is more like a last resort safety thing. Now, what you need to do to apply for this is complete the online request assistance survey on their website, and that's going to send them an email. So while you're filling this form, it'll require detailed documentation. So like I said before, I would recommend to ask your vet all of that documentation that you might need. They're probably going to ask for financial information like proof of income, like tax returns and pay stubs or something like that. They're going to ask for proof that you own the pet. And this is actually super, super important because not all pets are microchipped. And this is the only way that they can actually prove that you are the legal owner of that pet. So if you're watching this video and your pet is not microchipped yet, I would recommend to do it as soon as possible, because if your dog gets lost, or if someone steals your dog, that I've heard very crazy cases lately, especially with expensive pets, which is very sad. But yeah, I would recommend for you to microchip your pet as soon as possible, so you don't have to do all of this when you're already going through an emergency. Imagine your dog was hit by a car and then all of a sudden you need to place a microchip so you can prove that you're the legal owner, and your pet is like suffering and pain and bleeding, and then you have to place a microchip. Yeah, just do it. But yeah, to prove that you own the pet, they're probably going to ask you for rabies records or microchip information or veterinarian records that have your name throughout all these years. So you can see here that the most reliable way is actually a microchip, because if you took your pet to the vet like maybe 2 years, but then the following year your wife took over and she took them, and then your son took over, that's different names in the vet records, and that doesn't prove that you're the legal owner. And then once your application is submitted, if you pre-qualified, they will reach out and continue the process with you. And something very, very important to know, Brown Dog Foundation doesn't reimburse you if you already paid for the treatment. How this works is that they're going to pay for the treatment that is needed. But if you paid for it already, they're not going to give you the money back. Because remember, this is actually financial help for people that cannot afford an emergency like this. Now, in this section, we're going to talk about financing and payment plan options that we have in the veterinary medicine field. You've probably heard about some of them because they actually cover for some human health services as well. But the first one that we're going to talk about is CareCredit. And for CareCredit, I would actually think of it as a medical credit card for pets. It's very, very popular, and you can use it in almost every clinic or hospital out there. They do have financing options with no interest, but it's only if you pay it within a certain amount of time. But they do give you those options, and then you have to decide what's best for your pocket actually. If you want to apply for CareCredit, you simply ask the hospital or the clinic if they approve CareCredit, and most of them have already like brochures or QR codes that you can scan, and it'll take you directly to the website where you need to apply. I've seen it work 100 times and it's actually pretty fast. They have a very good customer service, so if you have any issues or questions, you can just call them and they actually answer right away. The other option for this is Scratchpay, and this one works a little bit different. It's not a credit card, but it's a payment plan. They offer quick approvals online, and it's often better terms than a traditional credit card. And then same as CareCredit, this one's also very popular. So just ask your vet if they have like brochures or information about it, and they will guide you through the whole process, or they will give you a brochure that guides you. Another option that's actually gaining a lot of popularity lately is Cherry. One of the last clinics I worked at partnered with Cherry a few months ago, and we actually saw like better results with it. Owners were like a lot more happier with the payment plans, and the process is way faster too, because the clinic actually applies for you, so you don't have to do all of that. You can apply too, but usually they have the option to see if you pre-qualify and all of that. I saw a few clients request this financial help for emergencies or routine care like vaccines or dental cleanings, and The payment plans were actually super, super good, and they offer a few options with interest-free rates. So I guess from my experience, Cherry is something that I would definitely recommend if you're looking for something more like payment plans. And remember, I'm going to leave the links down below so you can also look into their websites and read all the information and see how you can apply. Now, section 3 is actually going to be short because it's the obvious option, and it's pet insurance. But I'm going to be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with pet insurances. I've actually heard more people complain about it than having like good results or a good experience. So I will mention a few pet insurances that I've heard working at several clinics, but I don't know much about each one of them. So I'll just mention it and I'll leave the research information to you. Okay, so here's the list that I made of the most talked about pet insurance out there, but the actual ones that I have a little bit of experience or that I've heard talked about the most is just Trupanion. And like I said, it's just because Trupanion was partnered with the clinic that I worked at before. But yeah, here's the list that I made for you. You can pause this video and just look into some of them if you want. Oh, a very important thing about pet insurances that I do know, and I've had hundreds of owners complain about it, is that you have to request all the documents to your veterinarian because they want to know what the diagnosis was, what the treatment plan is, all the estimates, all the invoices, absolutely everything. And then plus, also to be safe, I would recommend for you to request a letter from your vet saying why your vet is requesting this treatment plan. And this is the critical part. Your vet has to say specifically that the treatment plan is required to actually fix the issue or the diagnosis that your vet is diagnosing. This is important because sometimes your pet insurance says like, oh, this is just an optional treatment plan. And an example of this is end-of-gland expression. You would say end-of-gland expression is a routine care situation. But if your dog has a chronic end-of-gland issue, and let's say you went to the vet because your dog was scooting a lot, he was licking the butt, and he was painful back there, and your vet diagnosed a end-of-gland rupture, for example, or end-of-gland abscess. That's a diagnosis that requires an end-of-gland expression and treatment like ointments or cleanings or shaving the area, for example. And all of that is necessary for us to treat the end-of-gland rupture. So your pet insurance might see it as, oh, this is just routine care. We don't need to cover for this. But the end-of-gland expression was not made for a routine. It was made for a diagnosis and a disease or illness. So that's just one simple example that repeats all the time, but I've seen hundreds and hundreds of them where we usually have to write a letter to the pet insurance specifying why we need this treatment plan. Another financial help, it's always your local and community help resources. Don't forget you have a lot of shelters that you can reach out to, and sometimes they can help you with some of the treatment, especially if you have a case of a pet that it's not actually yours, but you rescued them. So yeah, look online for your community shelters and see if they accept complicated cases or if maybe they have a spay and neuter clinic that it's a lot cheaper than doing it at a clinic, if they offer vaccines at a cheaper price or something like that. If this video was helpful, please share it to more people so people can have resources and places to go to when they're having an emergency with their pets. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel or like this video or share it or something like that so you can support me in one of those ways. I have a lot more videos about pet health and veterinary advice that might help you, so go check them out. And don't forget, I left all the links for these organizations down below, so just copy paste and save it on your phone or take a screenshot, or maybe save this video in your favorite one so you don't lose it when you actually need it. Thank you for watching.